Welcome to day 2 of 6 days of Halloween. Today, I'm going to show you what it's like to get your tarot cards read in New Orleans. I have lived in Louisiana for the past 5 years, and I've only been to New Orleans a handful of times, and usually I'm just going for Mardi Gras, or I'm going whenever friends or family come into town, and they always want to go to New Orleans. NOLA is for sure a bucket list city. I feel like a lot of people want to go there and just experience what it's like to get shit-faced on bourbon. The city doesn't help because it's an open container city, and they're literally selling alcohol on every single corner, and you can get whatever you want and walk around the streets, and no one's not going to say anything. Matter of fact, everyone's probably going to be as drunk as you are. I feel like New Orleans is most infamously known for Bourbon Street. I say infamously because if you have survived a night on bourbon, you're just not the same person as you were the night before. Last time I was on Bourbon Street, my sister got pickpocketed. She got her phone stolen, and she had to find her iPhone on, and we were walking around Bourbon Street late at night with everyone who was drunk, and the crowds were so much looking for her phone, trying to track it down. The next day it was in New York. Okay, she never found her phone again. If you look deeper on what New Orleans has to offer, you have the voodoo, you have the ghosts, the spirits, the witches, the sidekicks. New Orleans is a very spiritual town. I have never had my tarot cards read ever, but every time I've been to New Orleans, I have seen tarot cards advertised everywhere. Even in the French Quarter, there's people who are just set up at a table offering like tarot card readings, or getting your palm read, or looking into your crystal ball, or getting your dreams interpreted. There's so many like psychics or spiritual people within New Orleans, and I thought Halloween would be the perfect time to start to dabble in whatever tarot cards have to offer. I personally don't have a lot of religious or spiritual beliefs. I'm like a feather floating in the ocean of life. I think all religions or all spiritual practices have some sort of basis, and whatever makes you feel more comfortable or whatever floats your boat, I say do whatever makes you happy. I've tried to look into the history of tarot cards and the purpose of tarot cards, and I don't know if it's just my brain is so little, I can't understand like the full purpose or where it originated from. What I discover most of the time whenever I'm doing research into something that is really popular in today's world is it's really like a game of telephone to try to find the history of where it originated. But the purpose of tarot cards is tarot cards can be used to help you understand your past, present, and future, and gain insight on your inner processes. They can also help you face the struggles, find answers to inner problems, and consider ways to solve problems. Now, I try to understand how a deck of cards could tell me all of these things, but I feel like it's one of those things that you just have to experience for yourself. New Orleans has tarot card readers everywhere. I feel like on every corner you can get your cards read, and I thought it would be interesting to see what the difference would be like going to someone who has a shop set up like in a building, or going to someone random that you find on the street. This journey in New Orleans starts at a place called Hex Old Witchery. It's like 3 streets away from Bourbon Street, and it's like right down the road from French Quarter, so it's in a really good location. I will link the website in the description below, so if you are in New Orleans and you want to go to this place, I saw Mimi. My friend Brittany is joining me on today's journey on getting our tarot cards read, so without further ado, let's get into the video. I know I just said we were about to get into the video, but before we do, I forgot to tell you that whenever you get a tarot card reading, you have to like set your intentions, or like mentally think of where you want the reading to go. In my case, I wanted career advice, or what my career would look like, because I am a content creator, which I feel lucky to be able to say that. But this is also a career path that is very unsecure. Like in a year from now, will people even care about who I am? So I thought it would be fun to see what the cards held, to see what the future held within the cards, or however you would say that. All right, for real this time, let's get into the video. Oh my god, that scared me.
I've had a reading done before.
I have not.
Okay, well you came to the right place because I'm a nice psychic.
Oh,
cool. The way that it works is if you are a spiritual or religious type of person, it's what God or the universe wants you to know, like a visualization of prayer. Non-spiritual or religious, it's your subconscious. You know those answers. It just confirms what we already know.
Okay.
I'm what you call intuitive, so it's not just about the cards, it's your energy and everything going on around you. So
Perfect.
What would you like to ask about today?
I'm more curious career-wise.
Let's see. So my top 4 are where we are, and the bottom is where are we headed. The Hermit is our first card, and we love that because this is all about going inwards, lots of contemplation. It is also my card of Virgo. Virgo energy is let's make it perfect.
Yes.
Let's make it just right. You also have the 6 of Cups, and the 6 of Cups speaks to, you know, it is my card of disillusionment. There's a lot of things that we thought was going to be a certain way, and then we get into it and you're like, that's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of stuff that's like, oh, no more rose-colored glasses. This is a lot of work. I do think there's bits and pieces where maybe we're being a little bit nostalgic of, you know, I want to have more free time. I want to be able to be doing more of the things that I want to do. I don't want to feel like I'm a slave to stuff, right? So
it was at this point in the reading where I was like, okay, maybe people are onto something here, especially the part where she said it's like you've taken off the rose-colored glasses. What's very interesting about this is within the past year, that is something that I have been saying. The past 12 months of my life, it's like the rose-colored glasses were removed and I am just seeing everything in a different shade. And it was crazy to hear her use that phrase exactly. I know it's kind of a common phrase, but still at this point I was like, okay, what's going on here?
With the 7 of Swords, this is lies, deceits, dishonesties. I do think there's a lot of maybe pieces where maybe we feel like we're not being honest with ourselves. Maybe there's individuals we've tried to interact with before. That being said, you do love what you do, and you do enjoy it, and you have a really good fan base, and there's a lot of emotion and care that's being put into this, which is fantastic.
Yes. I don't really understand the card that she pulled about the lying and deceit. Maybe I need to dig deep and really understand what the hell that means, but I don't really resonate with that card too much. But when she was saying that I have a really good community of people, I was like, yes, I do. I love everyone here. My fan base is amazing.
So, moving forward, we do have the 8 of Pentacles. You are going to be busting ass between now and the end of the year, which makes a lot of sense, but see moving into the new year, probably like moving more into January or like beginning of February. This is all about your emotions and your feelings and making sure that your mental health is in the right space.
Yeah.
Right? Be like, okay, this is why I got into this. This is why I'm going to care. This is where I want this to go.
This was another moment in the reading that I was like, oh my God. Yeah, because I do want to make that shift into prioritizing my self-care and maybe being a little bit more real and vulnerable, especially here on my YouTube channel, and maybe making a little bit of a content shift. And it was kind of crazy that she was telling me that.
You are going to see some pretty decent success moving into the later part of spring. This is the deals. This is people sending you things. This is companies wanting to work with you, right? Which is the important part. So you're going to be able to get like some really good networking. You're going to be able to do a lot, but we do also have this Judgment card, and I do think you are going to hit a wee bit of a wall moving into this time next year. And judgment isn't necessarily bad. It's being too harsh on ourselves. I do think that there's going to be some sort of upheaval, or maybe having to rework how we're doing things or exactly what we are doing.
Okay.
I think of it kind of like rebranding. Yeah, you're going to kind of hit a point where you're like, I have to do that.
Okay.
But this might be your launch point of being able to do that.
Honestly feels like I'm kind of at that point now.
Other things we need to know. Do you like the Hierophant here? He is all about, higher self, higher education, taking things seriously, one foot in front of the other in traditionalism. You also have the Sun card, which I also really like. Here's the thing. You are a brave person for putting yourself out there and doing these things, because I know you probably get some bullshit comments from fucking trolls, which is annoying. Be bright, be happy. The sun does not apologize for being the sun. You might get a couple of rain clouds in front of it, i.e. self-doubt, asshole people, whatever. But it always ends up shining through that stuff anyway. And you've also got the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment and being able to get what you want. I kind of get the feeling like once you get into year 3, that's when you're really going to start seeing things really pop off for you.
Okay. I do have some final thoughts on my tarot card readings with Mimi, but first I want to give Brittany the chance to tell you about her experience. I've both gotten our cards read. How do you feel about it? How do you feel yours went?
She ended up reading for my pregnancy and also my relationship.
Okay.
And she basically reminded me that in the end, I will also, I'll be a parent.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be a wife and having to, date my husband.
Yeah.
Because, I'm going to get one-tracked.
Also, Brittany is 9 months pregnant, by the way. We are she could go into labor any second. We don't think so. Her due date's October 26th.
She does think I'm going to come late. So...
Yeah. A few things about Brittany's reading. Mimi thought Brittany was going to go to term or that she was going to be late. And actually, when I was filming this, Brittany is in labor. What? Oh my God. Speaking of Brittany, Brittany's going to labor right now. So, there is that. With my reading, I still feel like it's very random. I don't feel like it was necessarily specific for me. There was a few cards that just didn't resonate with me. And I know I believe you're supposed to take what resonates and leave what doesn't behind. But then I feel like I could just Google positive quotes and that would kind of do the same thing. The two cards that resonated with me the most was the Six of Cups, where she was talking about being nostalgic and, living life in a way that I didn't think I was going to be. And also the Judgment card, which she pretty much said that was a rebranding card or me entering this new period of time in my life. And I feel like those two cards were the most impactful to me. Overall, I did enjoy my reading with Mimi. If anything, it just gave me this different perspective and just to see things from a different angle, which sometimes is really beneficial. I would recommend Mimi. I think she was great. Her spirits were really high. She was really attentive, and it seemed like she really knew what she was talking about. Next up on the agenda is to find another random tarot card reader. I wanted to go to the French Quarter because I feel like that's a good middle ground for tourists, and there are always a lot of tarot card readers set up there. Before we did that, when you are in New Orleans, you have to get a little bevy. It's this place called the Vampire Cafe, and it's spooky season, and I felt like there was no way that I could just pass that up. So we went there before we went to find our next tarot card reader. Currently at a place called Vampire Cafe.
Here, make sure it passes vertical first.
I have these little blood plugs here. This is a sangria. Brittany, of course, has the virgin. Delicious. I mean,
It's juice.
it's juice. Brittany and I decided to have this nice little moment sipping on our blood bags in the French Quarter, discussing all of the New Orleans lore, but you guessed it, the audio or the mics weren't connected, and this is what it sounded like. Behind me, you can see just people who come out here and will set up tables in the French Quarter, looking to get your tarot cards read. I'm sure they're psychic at some level. I feel like you have to be in tune with the spiritual side to read tarot cards. I'm drawn to that guy over there.
I see him. I've never had...
The cool looking guy. He's got the smallest table, the coolest vibes. Hello!
Hello.
You do tarot cards reading, I'm assuming, don't you? Can I get one?
I do tarot cards, dream interpretation, and suggestions.
Okay. The vibes were just pulling me to this guy. He looked cool. He looked mysterious. He looked like maybe he knew what he was talking about. He takes cash donations, and I didn't have any cash on me, so I had to go hunt down an ATM. We found an ATM. Nope. my Barnes & Noble card. That's it.
Get some bananas, get some water.
Hell yeah, get your banana.
Hungry. Hungry.
Is that a normal occurrence around here? We're back!
Hello.
Woo!
Good introduction, once you get if you're in emotional situations.
It was at this moment that I knew I made a mistake. And this was really a learning moment for me, not with the tarot cards, but as a person. I knew as soon as I sat down in that chair and whenever he started talking to me that I shouldn't have followed through with it because I couldn't hear anything that he was saying. And he asked me what I wanted the reading for, and I told him career. And he said, well, I can only do it month by month, and I can really only tell you, what your next year is going to look like. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's good with me. Let's just finish the reading.
Now, in regards to December, February will be a very emotionally rewarding month for you. And signing up with February. February will be emotionally rewarding anyway. So December, January, February, March, January, July.
Here's this for you.
Bitch, what in the fuck was that? I'm realizing at this point that I didn't even catch his name. I don't even really know who he is, and I feel like he probably was homeless. And I didn't take anything from that reading. I'm going to be so honest. I could not hear a thing that he was saying. He kept getting confused in the middle of the reading. He kept trying to backtrack and keep track of what he was saying, but then I didn't hear what he was saying. And I was just sitting there and it got to the point where I wasn't even focused on the tarot card reading. I was thinking it's a cash donation. How much am I going to tip him? I originally pulled out $40 to give him $40, but then I was like, this is not a $40 reading. But then at the end of it, I was like, oh, he's probably homeless and, he's trying his best. So I didn't end up giving him the $40 anyway, but I still to this day don't know what he said. Let this be a lesson for everyone involved. If you ever find yourself in New Orleans and you want to get your tarot cards read, I would recommend going to someone who has a shop set up. I feel like if someone is running a tarot card reading out of their business, that they just know a little bit more than if you were to find someone who's maybe doing this as a hobby or a side hustle. Hex Old Witchery was really cool too, because not only is it a place that you can get your tarot cards read, it's also this big shop that is set up for the more spiritual side of things. I think they had books on witches, and they had crystals, and they had a bunch of herbs and stuff that you could use to make potions or whatever you use the herbs for. I really liked Hex a lot more, a whole hell of a lot more than I did that random guy who I never got his name. So yeah, have you ever got your tarot cards read, or are you someone who does your tarot cards on a daily basis? I know there's so many different practices for tarot cards. Also, have you ever been to New Orleans? Do you want to go? This is a conclusion for day 2 of 6 days of Halloween. Stay tuned for tomorrow where I talk to a psychic. That's all that I have for you guys today. Okay, bye. Love you.